This is my 2019 Street Scrambler from Triumph. Had it for about 7 months. My first real motorcycle since I was a kid when I had dirt bikes. Absolutely love this bike, but I am kind of a newbie when it comes to maintenance and stuff. So I was trying at one point when I was trying to install my USB cord here to figure out a way to how to remove the seat just to make sure I knew I was doing it properly. And they have instructions online, just written, but I'm a visual person and those don't do well for me. So I didn't find too many videos online really that were super explicit on how to do this. So I'm gonna show you right now how it worked. So if you come around to the back of the bike and you look right in here, kind of up the bike's butt, you'll see there's a little Allen key in there, and that is what's going to release this. But you just loosen that up and this sort of pops off. Once you get this off, you come around to the side here and bring your key. And it's on the left-hand side of the bike, and you pop a key in there, unlock that, and the seat should come right off. So once you have your hex piece stuck in here, you just give a little tug and it should come loose. And then you're just gonna need to give it a couple winds. It shouldn't be too difficult to do at all, and then it should be loose. So one thing I'd forgotten since the last time I'd done this was this bolt that's back here actually will come completely out when you take it off. So just be mindful because it will probably fall and roll away. So just keep an eye out for this little dude because you do not want to lose it. So once that bolt is out from back here, all you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna just kind of pull towards you and lift up. Because what you'll see is that you have the bolt that comes in here. So there's a latch that kind of drops down in there that when the bolt goes into it and keeps it in place. And then there's two just sort of two other bolts that just slide in here and hold it from moving up and down. So once this is removed from here, you're just pulling away from this and you're able to lift it straight up and out. So you're pulling out and up, and then you can remove the passenger seat. In the interest of not losing your bolts, it's always a good idea to just kind of thread them back in if it's just like one like this. And that way it'll just stay with the seat. You don't have to worry about losing it or knocking it off your bench or kicking it across the ground or anything. So not a bad idea. Now it's time to remove the main seat. And it's just gonna lift off from the back here. But again, you're just gonna need to stick your key in there and unlock it like that. And then I think this is actually a two-hand job because it's not just like an unlock and forget it thing. You need to actually hold it and lift. So you're gonna hold it, the key this way and lift the seat off from the back here. So now that that's done, you just lift the seat straight off and you'll see the locking mechanism is actually this little sort of cone thing right here. And what that does is that sticks into that hole right there. So when you're holding that key, you see you are sort of disengaging that lock because otherwise it's always engaged. So you have to turn the key and hold and then lift the seat up. Putting the seat back on is pretty much just as easy as it was taking it off. You're going to take your seat and it's going to go in and then down. And that's the key, because what you're doing is you have that little bit right here that's going to latch onto where that bolt is. And then that same little cone locking mechanism that sticks right down into there. So here you go. You see it's super easy. You can do it with one hand, slide it in first there, and then find where it connects there and just push down. And then boom, it's locked in. Shouldn't be able to pull it up, shouldn't be able to move it, and you've installed or reinstalled the main seat again. Back to the passenger seat, also super easy. Just remember those sort of bolts are gonna go in first from last time. They slide right into those grooves, so it's gonna go in and down. Just make sure you remove that bolt we stuck in there before so we didn't lose it. Then once you have those lined up, it should feel pretty well locked in the front. Obviously the back's gonna flap around, and you just wanna make sure, again, that that little bolt thing is going into that groove back there, into that gap that I showed you before, and not coming on this side of it, because then your seat will not lock correctly. So that's how you know this is seated correctly, is that fits in right there. And then you should be good to put that bolt back in. Now, getting this bolt out is a lot easier than getting it back in, if I'm being honest. This little piece of seat pretty much always hangs over, and you have to really pull up on it in order to expose that hole. And even then, the hole where you're seating the bolt is actually recessed by about maybe a 1/4 inch because of this plastic here. So I find it's easiest to take your bolt and actually stick the Allen key into it and use that to guide it in, as opposed to trying to do it with your fingers. Maybe I just, because I have big fingers, but it just doesn't work well. You know, you try and get it in there and you lift the seat up and then it moves the hole. So this might be a little tricky, might take you a second, but if you just put it on your tool first and then guide it in using that, that should alleviate any sort of issues you have. And that's all there is to it. Just removing both of those, and now your seat has been removed and replaced, and it still looks good.